To this special broadcast from the Growth Summit Europe here in Amsterdam. Today, three special guests at our table, Mr. George Kohlrieser, international expert on leadership, also author and speaker on the subject. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jasper Voorhoeve, Dutch entrepreneur. You have your own company, Master IT Training, I must say, and iWriter.
Yeah, exactly. Two companies.
Two companies, yeah. Pieter van Osch also here with us today from Spark Leadership, the host of this today's Growth Summit. So welcome all three. First, Jasper, could you tell us a little more about your company?
Yeah. Well, I said we actually have two companies. One is a software solution house, and my other company, that's iWriter. My other company is Master IT Training, with which we provide IT training to IT professionals. We do it in the Netherlands with 40 people. And well, are you interested in turnover figures or?
Well, is it a growing company?
Yeah. We used to grow 40% in the first 10 years. We now are 15 years on the market. So until 2009, we used to grow 40% each year. And now we're stabilizing a bit, and I'm really excited to get back to the growing path.
Okay, so you're exploring your chances here today.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, Peter, we just heard George talk about interesting part of entrepreneurship, true leadership. We heard him talk about. Is that a big issue for the Dutch entrepreneurs?
Leadership in general is, I think, a big issue for entrepreneurs, but more specifically, self-leadership is a big issue, because no entrepreneur has learned entrepreneurship. Somewhere in a school you learn about electronics or specialism or whatever, but not leadership in an entrepreneurial, self-leadership in an entrepreneurial environment. And George gave a couple of good tools for entrepreneurs to improve their self-leadership. And you need to do that. I think one of the sayings was, if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others, or others won't follow you.
So as an entrepreneur, you need to be a leader.
Yes. And a self-leader.
Self-leader. Okay. Well, one of the other things you said, one of the biggest mistakes that leaders make is not to take the time to form relationships with their followers. Is that the key thing, taking time to be a good leader?
Yeah, taking time and do it efficiently, and being aware of how important it is. So it doesn't take that much time. And there are many people who are caught, and entrepreneurs are really guilty of this sometimes. They're so focused on the goal of getting something done that they forget the people that are around them. So a smile can be a form of bonding. A hello, a thank you. It doesn't have to take a long time. Bonding is a process of how you connect and create that inspiration. And entrepreneurs have the advantage because they are in one way creating, just by nature creating. They're curious by nature. So the problem is when they're held hostage or they're too much victims of being focused on the goal is more important than the people.
Okay, so you say you should take time to get to know your own team. That's like one of the most important things.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I completely agree.
I think we're in universal agreement with that. And it happens more than we think, where people don't take the time to create that relationship. And especially on virtual teams. If you're working over virtual sites, you have to be able to take that time to get that connection.
Is this something everyone can learn to be a good leader?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, so for everybody there is a chance.
There is a chance. But you have to work at it. It's like any talent. You have to work at it. You don't just become a leader because you're appointed to that position.
Jasper, are you a good leader?
Good question. I think you want to really have the real answer. You have to ask my employees. And when you ask them, I think they will say, or I hope they will say that I got a clear vision and I share responsibility in my companies, and I help people to develop themselves. That's what I hope they will say, and maybe they will also say that I'm a bit high demanding from what I want from them.
But are you taking the time to bond with your team?
I thought so, but after hearing George today, I'm sure that I have to spend more time on bonding. Yeah.
Okay, what's the main thing you're going to focus on?
Bonding, yeah, and use time to listen to people, and what you just said about the fish on the table, being honest about what's the point is. That's something I learned, and I'm gonna do tomorrow. I think with
You
you do, yeah, I do. But yeah, so that's one thing I learned today.
Hey George, one thing you always say is, you need one goal, and your team needs to focus on going in the same direction. How do you create that?
It's like a ship. A ship can only go in one direction. You have to be able to get the strategy clear, be able to translate that strategy into missions, and be able to get the strategy down to goals, and have people committed to that. And they have to want to belong, they have to be emotionally connected to that goal, and they have to be able to push back and disagree and learn, and that requires creative leadership. And if I might say something, this is a pretty typical Dutch response. When you ask somebody if they're a good leader, the Dutch will rarely ever say, I'm a good leader, because you have to be humble here. Huh?
Yeah.
And in a way, if you look at yourself, to be able to say, yes, you're getting a good result, people are sticking with you, they're inspired. To be able to say, one, I like to lead, that's the first question. And secondly, yeah, I think I am a pretty good leader. I can still learn, but I think I am.
Okay. That's gonna be my next answer on this question.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because we talked about mindset, and it's pretty typical in some cultures where the tendency is to drift to that negative side. You don't want to overemphasize the positive. And Peter, you've probably seen this, where some people consider weakness to be positive. It's incredible. If I'm negative, then I'm a better leader because it means I see everything. And so we know you have to be positive to really lead. And it is not a vulnerability or weakness to be positive.
Yeah, is that what you also see, Peter, in Holland, that we're too negative about this?
Yeah, I must say that I agree. It's a bit from my experience working with all the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs and people in general tend to see what is not at the table instead of what is at the table. But there is a very simple other thing. I have studied a lot about feelings and emotions. And from the languages that I know, the Dutch language is the only language where there are 2 times more negative feelings, words for negative feelings, than for positive feelings. In English, it's approximately in balance. But in the Netherlands, we have a lot of words for negative emotions, like annoyed and angry, etc., instead of joyful and engaged, inspired. So I tend to agree.
How did you figure it out?
Very interesting. By the way, this makes a very important issue for cross-cultural or working in global situations, because some people find it difficult to work with the Dutch mindset, and they have to understand the Dutch are direct. The Dutch tend to be perfectionistic and looking for what's wrong, but once you understand that, they really bond well. And many people are too afraid of what will happen when they're dealing with somebody who's from Holland or Germany or Denmark. They tend to be those 3 countries.
Okay, good to know that.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Or have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not enough experiences on that to agree with that. And
Just smiling sometimes can be a challenge for some people, and a smile goes a long way.
Right. Hey, earlier today we heard David Marquet, his vision on leadership, and to create multiple leaders within your company. Everybody can be a leader, is his vision. Do you agree on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Leaders develop leaders. And the idea of shared leadership, giving every person a chance to develop within their capabilities at that point, to lead, and then to learn more leadership.
Okay, but who's the true leader then? If everybody.
It's a shared leadership.
Okay.
There is not one true leader. It's sort of like the leader of the leaders.
But is it just putting it then another way than we used to, leaders and followers? Or?
No, it's taking the follower mentality out of it. It's like there's a time to follow and everybody has to follow. Even the true leader or the big boss sometimes has to follow the feedback, what the customers are wanting, whatever is there. So the following is not a good definition of your relationship with a leader. It's can you show your leadership with a leader?
Is that something you recognize, Peter? Is it hard for leaders to be also followers within their company? If you look at Dutch entrepreneurs in this case.
I think if I would ask them, they would say yes, but deep in their heart they want to lead as well as to follow. And maybe that's one of the reasons why many of us are a member of the entrepreneurs organization, because then you can just put away the leadership thing and follow and listen to somebody else and learn and be enthusiastic about that. So I think in general it's taken as more as a weakness. Like I'd like to follow because I'm the leader, so I should be the leader, and
I have to show that I'm a leader.
Yes,
and I think part of this, and I don't know if the two of you agree, comes with the attitude of, in Holland, people towards authority. There's sometimes an over submission to authority, and there's a secret rebellion to authority, and it comes from the very strong Dutch father who often didn't allow leadership to develop in the family.
Jasper, is this an issue for you to find the balance between being the boss sometimes and sometimes listen to your employees?
Well, I like being a leader because and I like being a leader because it's a natural role which you want to do. But on the other side, I also want to have I want to grow my company, and to establish the growth of your company, you have to share leadership and you have to follow. So knowing that, it's not hard for me to be a follower sometimes.
Okay, and is this something every entrepreneur needs to work on, this balance, or?
Well, I think it depends on their development. There are different levels of development of entrepreneurs. I know many entrepreneurs who are quite good at building teams, and so they just step back and let the team do. And they're not a hands-on micromanaging person. And we at IMD tend to distinguish between leaders and managers. And entrepreneurs have to let go at some point. They have to let go and say, I share this baby and I'm going to be bringing out the best in other people, which once that happens, teams always get a far better result than one overpowering force who thinks they know everything.
Hey Peter, you always say don't work within your company, work on your company. Is this a big issue, leadership, knowing when to be a leader, when not?
I think there is a relationship. I think when you work on your company, you are leading. But to be frank, a lot of entrepreneurs work in their company and are micromanaging and making sure that everything is on the correct place, on the marketing materials, etc. And then that's certainly not leading.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for sharing their vision on leadership, and good luck growing your company, Jasper, in particular.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.